Díomh agus fáilte arís go rialaigh the peers ach a pléimiid scanam. Gary O'Brien is Adam Dum agus tá circuití Lachlan in éanacht clum agus muid ag caint an drama grin ceo Kneecap. Fáin linn agus asúla grin go man fi sibh soltas. So, I'm going to just do a really niche reference. Do you remember when the Queen came to Ireland? And she was given a speech in Dublin Castle. You should look this clip up. And she spoke like a bit of Irish.
Like three words.
Yeah, and Mary Robinson lost her shit.
Yeah.
That's how Sorcha looked at me when I did the intro in Irish. Now, did we practice that for far longer than I'm willing to admit? Yeah, a bit. But just the sheer look in her eye when she was like, it's the closest I've ever resembled the Queen to you.
Wait, oh yes, you are the Queen, and I'm Mary Robinson,
yes,
which I'll take that with pride.
Yeah.
The Queen of Ireland.
I am the Queen of Ireland.
No, but that was Panty Bliss.
I'm taking it off them.
Are you a hater? You're a bigot?
Oh, big time, yeah. Just leaving it there. Don't even have a joke. It's just true. No, Sorcha, you're back. It's
back.
not February. And we're not talking about a movie with nipple clamps. What's going on?
Oh my god. It's not a movie from 1986. It's not.
This is a movie that came out this year.
It came out this month.
That is insane.
But the difference is it is in Irish. And
Yeah,
As Gaeilge. And what some of our loyal listeners might not know is that I am a Gaeilgeoir. So this was something that once it came up on my radar, I was like, we're doing this. Mm-hmm. I want to go see it. I want to talk about it. I want to see what it's about. And I'm so glad that it's good.
Yes.
Because if I had been hyping up this like experience for the two of us to go watch it and talk about this Irish movie and then it was shit, I would have been like, oh.
Well, I was listening to the lads, the Kneecap boys, was it on the Late Late Show or it was either on News Talk with Pat Kenny? Hilarious interviews. Just because
they're gas.
They're gas. But also just to try and see some hoity-toity interviewers. It's like to interview a rap group. It's just
deal
funny.
with them, the lads.
But one of the lads was, I think it was JJ, was saying how like he was fed up of like being told something in Irish was good. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, it's in Irish, it's good. It's like, that doesn't mean it's good. It just means it's a bit different, and you're nearly told you have to like it because you have to like the language.
It's just a smaller category, which doesn't mean that it's better.
But I think with this movie and the success from 2 years ago on Colleen Kuhn, which got nominated for an Oscar, first Irish language movie to be nominated for an Oscar, there's like good quality movies in Irish rather than being good Irish movies.
Yes, it's no longer just like a token piece.
Yes.
It's like, no, we're just making media that happens to be in Irish.
And I think both movies, I've loved on Colleen Kuhn, I had a fantastic time with this, is like, it makes sense why it's in Irish. There's cultural context there, and that like, if you haven't seen on Colleen Kuhn, have you? And you call yourself a Gaeilgeoir.
I'm a traitor. It's traitor May. I don't know what the Irish for traitor is, I'm sorry.
I was about to say, I was like, the Irish could be funny
there.
I tell you what it is, bloody, trying to think of something controversial. I'm a bigot. No, but what you call it? No, as in like it made sense because that was in like a Gaeltacht area, and this makes sense because it's in the north of Ireland. It's set in the north of Ireland where the Irish language could be seen as quite political, whereas in Dublin it's a fun cultural art thing.
And that's like a really interesting lens that they go at. Because like we'll get into it, but part of the whole plot or a subplot within it is Irish being a protected and official language in Northern Ireland, which I didn't realize it wasn't. So like, no. You can't, if you want to like do your taxes through Irish, you can't, but you can do that here. If I want to go to the hospital through Irish, I can do that here. Yeah. I got one of my COVID vaccines fast through Irish.
What?
Yeah, because I just called a helpline that was in Irish, and I was like, "Con Grafedulum and vaccine aisle," and they were like, "Let's go."
Damn. Okay, that's fair. You deserve it.
Thank you. Exactly. I'm using the facilities that are there.
Absolutely.
I am a statistic that said like, yes, this many people used it through Irish.
I love. This is it's a tangent. It's this podcast.
It's the beginning. It's fine. It's the intro bit.
No one ever finds the beginning important.
Context.
This is it. No. I just find it funny. Like, you know, it's like there's us in Wales, so we always have to like print everything twice, just because. It's just like imagine like just trying to make road signs a bit smaller. Like, nah, you gotta go for the big ones. You need fucking
as big as possible with all the accents and everything.
Yeah, big time. But no, like this movie and the boys when they talk about it in press, they talk about how like there's a lot of this has had a global appeal because there's indigenous communities all over the world who see their language
who can
being
relate
at
to
risk.
this. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So a bit of inside baseball. I saw this movie twice because
saw it without me the first time
because I went to go see it with my students, and they were like, oh, that's really interesting and that's really cool, and they really, really liked it. And it was really nice to see people from a culture who have no concept of Irish. You know, they have no bad or good feelings towards it. They just are like, oh, it's another language. And they were like, oh, that's really interesting. Why don't people like Irish more? And I was like, oh, you don't know the baggage. But it was lovely to see that other people can appreciate it as well. You don't have to be Irish to appreciate it. The same way that if we watch a Korean movie or a movie from Mexico or anything, like, we can still like it. You know, you just watch it.
Subtitles are fantastic things.
Who is the director of Parasite?
Bong Joon-ho.
Yes, what he said at the Oscars of, like, if everybody can get over, 2 inches on the screen, your world will be opened up. And it's absolutely the same for Irish.
But I will say, sometimes I like going on my phone just a little bit during a movie.
And
if you look down for 10 seconds, you miss the plot.
Oh yeah, but like in the cinema,
I get it.
At home, 100%.
Yeah, I'm only teasing. No, I watch movies 100%, locked in, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Like in Clockwork Orange with the eyes like peeled open.
Yeah, although I don't have anyone to do the eye droplets, so I think I see about 15 seconds of a movie and then I'm rushed to emergency hospital.
You've seen the beginning of so many.
Oh man, I'm telling you, Shawshank Redemption. What an opening. As far as I know, they're still in that prison.
They're still there.
But no, for anyone, yes, let's provide a bit more context about what this movie is.
Yeah, because most of you probably haven't seen it because it only came out 2 weeks ago.
Serga, what's this movie about? What's the crack with it?
Right, so this is a real cool example of kind of mostly true story.
Yes.
Like, it's definitely a mostly true story of a band, Kneecap, rap hip-hop lads who kind of came to fame by having songs entirely in Irish. And because they're from Belfast, this was seen as much more like stand out than if someone from the Republic did it. And they have a line in the movie which I like of like, we don't know if we're good if it was just our time. And like, yeah, I think they just kind of hit at a right place, right time. And people thought it was so different and whatever. And it's the story of how they came to be and how they formed and how they kind of rose to popularity.
Yeah. And based on a real band. This is what I find amazing about this movie, because they formed in 2018. The movie was filmed in 2023.
Yeah.
So this band started, and within 5 years they had their own movie where they are now playing themselves in it.
Yeah.
And like, I've never seen anything like that. Like, is it a biopic if it's them in it?
If it's so recent.
Do you know what I mean? It feels weird.
Yeah.
But it's just such a testament to the interesting foundation of the band, but also the what's the word? Nearly the unfair treatment of them, in the sense that, like you say, a rap band from the Republic would be lauded for speaking in Irish and singing about drugs, but up north it's a political statement.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's seen as sectarian.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it on the way here of like, it's an interesting parallel with rap's beginnings, like rap's beginnings in America, where they were like, they're all gangsters, they're all criminals, they're all whatever, and they were like rapping about their troubles or their social issues. And it's like, did we not learn that lesson from 40 years ago, lads, that it can still be important and have a social message? Yeah. They're not actually just hooligans or criminals. It's like, same thing for them. And they say that in the movie of like, they're just scumbags, they're just hoodlums.
Low life scum era.
Low life scum, that's what they say about me. At the end of the movie, when they were showing some archive footage and I was mouthing along, you looked at me with such confusion.
I was just, look, I'm not a big fan of hip hop. I'm not a big fan of rap.
That's grand.
So I appreciate their artistic intake. I'm like, yeah, you go, but I don't like the songs. But that's not like I'm not like a prude where I'm like, I don't think it's not good.
Yeah.
I'm just very much like, that's not for me.
Yeah.
I wish I could like the songs more. I'm a bit more of a Sing Street fan, if I'm honest.
Fair.
But yeah, to see you just passionately singing the song, I was like, oh wow. It just took me off guard. I was like, I know you've seen it once before, but to know all the words, and you're like, no.
I've been listening to them because, again, if you are in the Irish language community, which is very small.
They're the ones who get vaccinated early.
Exactly. Here's a fun fact. There's about 50,000 Brazilians in Ireland and 80,000 native Irish speakers.
Fuck.
So I think of the next generation, one is going to overtake the other. And that's no shade to my Brazilians. Love my Brazilians.
I want to know what the Venn diagram crossover is. How many Brazilians speak
Irish? Maybe one. Who knows?
If they're a listener to the very
tune in, we'll have
podcast,
you on.
So I'd love to. We won't even have to record it. I just would love to pick your brain and know how you've made some life choices.
Tell me how you got here.
Yeah. So another point was like the story is very interesting because it's mostly based on their life, and there's some very fantastical elements that are true and some very mundane elements that aren't true. Like it can at times feel like very like and then this thing happens, and then like it's almost like all these different events that have a loose connective tissue kind of to tie them all together. But what I'd say what makes up for that, in my opinion, for this movie is the directing is so vibrant and so energetic.
Yeah.
That it, and especially during the songs where they have the English in the subtitles, in the sort of graphics.
I was excited to get your thoughts on that, whether you thought it was like cheesy or if it added to it.
I liked it. It added to the vibe of it. It added this like grimy, not grimy, but
yeah,
like,
it's sort of like staticky.
Yeah.
Like...
But just the whole vibe of the movie, like it's grimy, it's drug fueled.
Yeah, it's gritty. Not
gritty.
in the sense of
Gritty's
like,
that term I was looking for,
gritty noir, but again, it has that sort of like friction to it.
So, like, it was really interesting when we walked in because I know I'm jumping around a bit, but that's what I do. The amount of fucking old people.
That really surprised me because the first time I saw it, it was me, my 4 students, and like, but actually an older couple as well. People probably who are retired. Because who else is going to the cinema at 1:30 on a Friday?
I wish. I want to go. They're playing Dr. No and the Stella. Anyway.
Like, my boss isn't listening, but this is the best part of being a teacher. I was able to take them out on an excursion.
Ooh.
And go to the cinema at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Do you claim that back on tax?
No, I just get paid. That's my work day.
Oh, fucking
We're allowed to take them out because it was a cultural experience.
Can I teach a class on...
Go on.
Pierce Brosnan?
I mean, that would be relevant. He is an Irish cultural figure, so yes.
Have a native actor.
I'll bring you in.
Nice. And again, I'm still looking for that Brazilian Gaeilgeoir.
Yeah, but yeah, a surprising amount of kind of older crowd.
And especially when we went to as well. My favourite part was when they're doing ketamine and absolutely off their face, and an old man got up and left. But I'm gonna say it took him 3 minutes to walk down the stairs. I don't know if you copped him walking down on the right. Not. It was just, I love like him standing up out of outrage to leave, but him taking also like so long.
He's not running out in anger. He's like, oh, I need to absorb how terrible this is. Or he's on Ket.
He was just very, like, immobile.
Oh, was he on Ket?
He might have been. He could have been like, this is too real.
Like a 4D experience.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if those 4D cinemas, like, if you go to see Scarface in 4D, they just give you some nice Colombian margin powder.
Like, in your popcorn bucket at the end, it's not salt, it's cocaine.
Oh man, anyway, so many movies would be so much better. But no, so what I'm more so getting at is this movie seems to have broad appeal with many Irish people. Yeah. The crowd is very mixed. It's not the sort of young crowd I might have been expecting for a movie like this. So my recommendation would be like, hey, it's a movie that supports Irish heritage and Irish preserving of the Irish language. Definitely check it out.
Absolutely.
Anything else to add before we kind of tell people?
How did you find the Irish? Like, obviously you have kind of a school level of Irish, which most people would have going in. I am the minority of people who are going in fluent in Irish. Yes. So how was that experience for you?
So there'd be times where they'd speak and I'd be like, I don't know that Irish, but then they'd be speaking English and it's just the thick Belfast accent. Yeah,
because I found that, because again, I speak Irish at home, I chat to my family in Irish, I text them in Irish, but the dialect of Belfast is just so different.
So, but that's just the English I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, but for the Irish, like I'm fluent in both.
And then when the Irish happened and I could hear them speak Irish and I saw the subtitle, I'm like, that's not that word.
Yes.
Like when they said law, I think you were saying they just leave the MH out, so they just say law for hand.
And another word is tralav, which is equipment, and they said tralu. And I was like, what the fuck is tralu? Yeah. And I was like, looking at the subtitles, like reverse engineering. I was like, oh, tralav, law, okay, cool.
So I found bits I could know, but I wouldn't say I was able to follow much of it.
That's great. I was just curious.
But
what about all your Irish awards that you won in school?
I won 2 Irish awards in school, and you saw me struggle to say Dave earlier.
Also, we're not going to make this political. This is not a political podcast, but I did like what you have framed upon entry of your home. Do you remember?
I kind of have to say what it is because it sounds worse. There's, for some reason, I don't know why.
It's definitely not yours. It's my friend's.
It's not mine. And for some reason, this house there is a framed picture of the proclamation.
Yeah.
And I don't. So there used to be a portrait of the 5 of us there. But the
glorious nation of Ireland was more important.
But one of the girls left for Australia, so we gave her the framed picture, and we were like, cute. Oh yeah. And then it was just a big hole in the wall, and I was like, well, I would have the proclamation there. And another lens on this movie is that my girlfriend is from Northern Ireland. She's from Antrim.
Yeah. She's seen the proclamation in your house?
That was the first time she came over. She just saw the proclamation looking at her. She goes, I don't feel welcome here.
Is this a hate crime?
Yeah, exactly. So, what you call it? So I'm very aware. I always forget it's there, but there's some moments like that where I'm like,
I came in the front door, you went to go get your phone charger or your laptop charger, and I was like, oh, this is too good to be true. This is a setup.
I just got it there for the Kneecap podcast.
Exactly.
But no, actually, sorry. But speaking of politics though as well, the movie... It's hard to say because you don't. Them rapping in Irish is not a political.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be political, but it is political.
Yeah.
Because how the movie kind of starts is the two
youngins,
the scoundrels,
the scats
are having a big rave in the forest, and one of them get picked up by the guards or the police up north. And there's two guys. They're two young lads, so Liam and Nisha. Mm-hmm. And is it Nish? It's Liam who gets captured, and he refuses to speak to the police because he pretends he doesn't know English. He's like, I need you have to speak. I only speak Irish.
He's like in an interrogation room and he's only speaking to them in Irish, which unironically is my plan if I ever get arrested.
Well, see, this is the thing, but in the south of Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, they have to provide you with a Irish translator.
Yes.
In the north of Ireland, they do not.
Exactly.
But up until 2022.
Which I couldn't believe that Ireland wasn't kind of a protected and official language.
Because that's the other backdrop in this movie, that while there is this sort of movement to try and get Irish recognised as an official language up in the north of Ireland, these guys are rapping in Irish and making the Irish language relevant for the first time in years.
Yes.
But yet the establishment are like, oh, but we don't associate
exactly. And this is something that I see with people who speak Irish, is this kind of elitism. And I was really happy kind of to see that represented of people like, so another character in the movie, JJ, his girlfriend, is like kind of at the forefront of these like movements and marches.
The Darrig? Something Darrig?
Law Darrig is what they called it, the Red Day, which is like the day of protest. I don't know why red was the colour they chose, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're making a mockery of this, you're like making, and it's like, but it's a language like any other language. It shouldn't be this, like, we only use it perfectly and correctly. It's like, no, you're going to use it to talk to your mates, to make jokes, to be rude, to do whatever. Yeah. And I really like that. And that kind of pushback, they really lean into that with their kind of hood look and like the way they dress and everything, you know. They're really like leaning into that like scumbag, for want of a better word, thing.
But and again, I'm just gonna go back to that initial scene. Just because no, that was just more. I didn't want to be like, yeah, cool, Circa. But going back to my point, but the whole point is that's what a lot of Irish Republicans up north did, because to basically get it, if they were picked up by the police, they'd be like, well, I only speak Irish, and then because they wouldn't have any Irish translators on site, they'd kind of just either beat the shit out of them or let them go.
Exactly.
So
high risk, high reward.
So in that sense, it is political to speak Irish for that regard as well. But as you say, why those guys grew up in the community of, yes, there was obviously the IRA and Republicans nearby, but like you say, it's the two of them speaking Irish. They're speaking to each other's
just as
in
mates.
Irish as mates. Michael Fassbender's in this movie.
He is,
and he's probably the most political character in it.
Yes, and again, I quite liked this because he's a bit of a caricature of extreme like IRA Republicans, and I like so that the two lads themselves, Kneecap, or the three lads together, once JJ kind of joins them, they don't align with his extremism. They're like, no, we're just doing this in Irish because we love Irish and we speak Irish. And for him, it's like, no, this is an agenda, and you are ruining the sanctity of this. Yeah,
as I said, every word of Irish spoken is a bullet
a bullet fired for Irish freedom.
Yeah.
Gach focal Gaeilgeoir Sorcha is Pilar Scuilte A or Sun Saoirse na HÉireann.
Doesn't Circa seem so elitist right now speaking Irish?
Oh my god. She's threatening me. But they don't align with that. But then also we meet characters who are kind of, again, a parody of people who blindly worship the IRA. Yeah. And they also don't get it. They're also like, you guys are a disgrace to your like father and this, and this is not who we are. And it's like, they're just lads trying to live, you know? Yeah. Because there is that thing. What are they called in the movie again? Is it the Provisional Republicans or something? What was it? The Radical Republicans Against Drugs. Against drugs. And they are very much a caricature and a satire of how sort of how modern Republicans trying to be like, but we're the right guys because of this. Yeah. But at the heart of it, you are still very much just attached to those core beliefs with no wavering of any sort of like without a critical thought about it. Yeah. Anyway, look at us talking about politics. I know, this is so unlikable. But it's just more like that's what this movie sort of it's trying to make fun of. Yeah, and that's the thing. Fun is the perfect word for it. It's not a stodgy movie. It's not a movie about politics. No, it's a movie where politics is happening in the background, and it's actually just this crazy escapade of three lads finding each other. It sounds more romantic when I say that, but like two best friends completely by chance run into this guy JJ. So Liam, as you said, gets arrested or gets taken in by the peelers, which is something I'd never heard before. No. Grand. Okay, I was like, am I missing something? And JJ ends up coming in to be his interpreter. They find him because he's an Irish teacher and he works in an Irish language school. He's a musician. He's a music teacher in a Gaeilgeoir, exactly. So he gets called in to interpret, and this was one of my favorite scenes. I loved this scene because we were saying just before this, it's the lads themselves who are playing it. They're not actors. they only had, what was it, 6 months of acting before this, and I thought even just that first scene of them, JJ and Liam, very strong performances already, like facial expressions and humor and a bit of tension and stuff. And you said that you really like the directing, like when there's like the mirror in the room and he's like, what side of the table are you on? My side or like the policeman's side and stuff. I was like, this is great.
Like I said, the directing I'm so impressed with, considering this guy, I think it's his first feature-length movie.
No way.
But also from I think, I could be wrong, I should double check.
I mean, I didn't recognize his name, but that doesn't mean anything.
I can say whatever I want. I'm a bigot. And what you call it? The guys themselves. Yeah. Unbelievable acting. Like, again, they are just playing themselves. Yeah. But you kind of like, there is a level of, skill required in that.
Absolutely.
But your man JJ, so the story is that like this music teacher basically gets pulled into making the music for these rap duo effectively. Yeah. He's the guy in the balaclava in all the promotions.
He's DJ Provi.
DJ Provi. The reason why he wears the balaclava so the kids from school wouldn't recognize him.
And that's a true story. He was a music teacher and they called it the worst kept secret in Belfast. Like everybody's apparently knew. And he did actually get a letter from his school board being like, you are believed to be a member of this group and we have seen images of you snorting white substances on stage and revealing your buttocks with the words Brits out upon them, and that's all true. Yeah. Which I love. It's
one of those things where it's unbelievable how much of it is true.
Yeah.
But his acting,
I thought he was fab.
He was so good. And there's some really dramatic moments in it, because like you say, his girlfriend is the leader of the Darg, the Irish language movement, and he's obviously the other side of that coin, where he is this underground Irish rap group who is causing a lot of controversy, but they're both working for the same cause. But there's a lot of like really emotional moments in it where like she's having to come to terms with like who he is as a person now, because he's a drug fueled rap
he suddenly started taking coke at the age of like 29 or something.
29?
Well, here's the thing, another friend of mine saw it and she was like, oh yeah, it's two lads who are about our age. So Nisha was born same year as me, so he's just turned 30. Okay. Yep, he's 94. Liam is a little younger. I think he's like 26, 27. And poor old JJ, he's only like 34, 35.
Wow.
And she was like, oh, and a much older man joins us. I was like, hey, justice for JJ. He's just, I don't know, he just looks like that.
Because I didn't know he was the third member when the movie started.
Right, okay.
I was very much like, when does the third guy show up? And I was like, it's him.
I love that.
Yeah, so again, I knew nothing of the story of these guys. I knew about their song getting taken off the radio or being banned from the radio, which actually that storyline does feature in the movie as well. Exactly. Again, there's not too many spoilers in this. I think the main sort of thrills that come from this is the direction, the comedy. It's a very funny movie, and there's some twists and turns in the narrative from every kind of character's given their own story,
which I love,
and we've kind of attributed it to JJ's story is the best story because he's the best actor.
I thought Liam was a very good actor.
Liam's a very good actor, but he's very funny, so he gets the comedy storyline. And then Nisha is a pretty good actor, but that's why we give him Michael Fassbender as his dad.
Exactly. They hang the slightly more serious thing on him, so he can just look serious.
Yeah, just you being your Michael Fassbender.
Exactly. Yeah, you get to be in the car with Michael Fassbender.
It's Magneto.
Ian McKellen. And I have to say, Michael Fassbender's Irish was also very good in this. I didn't know if he spoke Irish or not. Okay. He doesn't have a northern accent at all. Actually, but no, he puts on a pretty decent northern accent when he's speaking English, and his Irish is, I saw no mistakes with it, so I was like,
there you go.
Lovely.
Top marks.
Top marks indeed.
From teacher Sir Kenny Loughlin.
Exactly. Not an Irish teacher, but an Irish speaker comedy teacher. Piece of shit woman.
Stop reading my notes, sir. These are for me.
Looking over your shoulder. It's a very bad setup. But yeah, basically, interrogation scene, and he takes Liam's notebook, which has the lyrics in it, and also a sheet of acid, which is great. So he takes it, and then later that night, he's just like, oh, I could turn this into something, and he writes a track, and then by chance, they literally run into each other again when Liam is running away from the Orange Order, and he just like jumps into this man's car, and he's like, hey, it's you, the interpreter. And so they all meet together, listen to the track, and they're like, oh, this is great, we need to like do something with this.
And like the movie just kind of follows making the music together, the kind of the issues that, not the issues that come with that, but I guess like the sort of the growing pains. And very much the highs, very much the lows. The drug scene's very good. Funny. If it hasn't been ruined for you, there's a cameo in it that is very short, but it's
icing on the cake.
Big smile for my face.
And like the shot where they see the ketamine going into the nose, the like nose POV, that is so funny. I love that.
The directing. It's such a style, the vibrancy and the style of the movie is really what makes it for me. And like I said before, the weaving of those three storylines, because it could really just be like three lads rapping in Irish, being controversial, doing a load of drugs, jokes,
or trying to do like Irish 8 Mile or something.
Yeah, like. It's
really unique. It is entirely their own. And another scene that I'm sure some people are going to dislike, although it's not too bad, is the like random claymation scene when they're high. But
I love it.
It's great. And I saw an interview with them, with the director, where they were saying that's actually an homage to these like short Irish films that was called Pulling the Devil by the Tail. Like, it's in English, but they're Irish made.
Okay.
That they remember like watching when they were teenagers and they thought they were so gas. It's very like weird deadpan humor. And the director literally had to pay out of his own pocket for that scene to happen because no one wanted it in the movie. And the three lads were like, oh no, this is like an homage to stuff we did when we were younger. And I was like, class, nice.
Nah, that's great. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. Something we should probably say is we mentioned Michael Fassbender. He's like a proto Bobby Sands character, I guess. He's like an escaped political prisoner on the run who's faked his own death.
But it's like, but taking it too seriously
kind
of thing.
Going
like,
too
again,
far.
It's a comedy. It's a bit of a satire.
Just because we said like Nisha's story is about that, so we should actually maybe say what's that story.
Yeah, I suppose.
So like, this is actually again a bit of a sad real moment. Is that like, so Nisha's mom in the movie is a total shut-in. Like, she has not left the house since her husband, quote unquote, passed away.
Yeah.
And like, she literally does not go outside ever. She's entirely inside and clearly struggling mentally. And his real mother had a lot of problems with mental health and sadly took her own life. And the movie's dedicated to her. And I was just like, ooh, I wonder how that was for him, kind of putting that out there, you know? But so yeah, Michael Fassbender is like, no, you know, this is for the cause. We have to keep the dream alive or whatever. And he's like, I just want my dad back. Mm-hmm. Or even at this point, maybe he doesn't even want his dad back. He's like, it would almost be easier if he just like left us alone, kind of a thing. So that's kind of his story, is like this charade of keeping up the image of his father, even though he wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I was a big fan of, and it was a storyline that you had suspected I would get quite good enjoyment out of, was Liam's storyline.
Yeah, he gets the girl.
He gets the girl, but she's a Protestant.
Yeah, he can only get it up for Protestants.
He can only get it up for Protestants.
That was a great one as well, having to teach the word Mickey to my students.
Okay.
When he's like, I'm having a problem with my Mickey.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, his what? And I was like, his penis.
Children, gather around. They're not children.
They're not. They're all 18 plus, I promise. This is an adult school.
Gather around, students.
It is adult education for English as a second language.
Yeah. But his storyline brings a lot of heart, a lot of humor into it as well. Like, it's a really nice sort of break. But it weaves into the serious story as well a bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's a police detective, Josie Walker is the name of the actress. She plays Detective Ellis. She's great. She's super menacing. I don't know. I don't think she's been in much else, but
no, I didn't recognize her.
So good. And
she's
menacing.
Very good, and again, she brings very dry humor as well. Mm-hmm. So like, JJ's is more kind of weak and not JJ. Sorry, I keep confusing JJ and Liam. Liam's is more like winking at the camera, cheeky boy. Yeah, and hers is much more like deadpan sarcasm. Yeah. So you get a nice taste of both.
Yeah, but it's the script. Like I said, the script. I don't know how much of it. Like, I know the director wrote it, and the other guys kind of influenced, obviously, with the story and stuff. But like, I'd love to know how much of it was improv. It's like, it's just, again, it's them playing themselves, so I don't know how much of it is like authentic versus just them mucking about.
Yeah, an exaggerated version of themselves or whatever. But a great scene with him and the girl, Georgia, is like, she goes to one of his gigs and she immediately is turned off because she's Protestant, and she's like, you know, oh God, he's there.
He's singing about getting the Brits out.
Exactly. And she's like, what the fuck was that about? Is that about me? You know? And he's like, no, it's not about you. It's about the, like, what does he say? Like, the institutional British government. And she's like, why didn't you say that? And he's like, it's in the chorus of a song. I don't have time to say that.
Yeah, she's like, why do you want me out? He's like, I don't want you out. He says, but you said Brits out. It's like, not you Brits. I mean, like, the British establishment.
Exactly. We're just like, you know, the government of Britain. What have they done for us recently?
But no, I'd highly recommend. I'd say it's absolutely worth checking out.
100%.
It's a very fun time. I wish I liked the music more. That's my only thing.
Oh, that's fair. And that's the thing. It doesn't. I think that's even a better testament to it, of like someone who is not a fan of the music like me. Mm-hmm. Fans are going to go just because they're fans of the lads and they want to see it and whatever. People who aren't interested in the music still getting enjoyment out of the film is a testament to everything you said. The art direction, the writing, the acting, all of this stuff, it can stand alone without having to know all the backstory. You don't have to be like a super fan to get it.
Yeah, I knew nothing. Out. But it's not just us, because it won an award at Sundance.
Yeah, it got a standing ovation.
First Irish language films premiered at Sundance, but it won some audience award.
Oh, of course.
And then it also won a rake of awards at the Galway Film Festival as well.
Yeah, and has it actually been bookmarked for an Oscar?
I believe Ireland has selected it officially as its nominee for the the Best International Feature Film at the Oscars, yes. Which I find hilarious, because there was another movie that came out at the beginning of this year called That They May Face the Rising Sun.
Oh, yeah.
Very beautiful movie. Very what you'd expect an Irish movie to kind of be, like that Banshees of Inisherin kind of like country vibe. And I love that they were like, nah, we're going for the one with ketamine and cocaine.
We've done enough of the sad shite.
And I just feel like, look, I don't know, in my opinion, the band don't need this. In the sense, I'm like, I don't really care about the band, but the type of movie that it is and the type of message it promotes.
Yes.
I'm very happy to see that represented at the Oscars if we do get lucky enough to.
Give it the international audience something to kind of like not just think of Ireland as this kind of stuck in time, oldie worldy fairy tale place.
But also not so much just like the north of Ireland. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, I suppose they had that movie Belfast recently, but then again,
Titanic, I don't know.
They had a bit in Titanic.
Absolutely, yeah, like the Northern Irish representation. Of course, it is definitely one side of a story.
Oh, yes,
but like
100%.
You can't avoid that when it's a biopic, when it's like that's their lived experience, you know?
And that's what's made them who they are, was that.
Exactly. It's intrinsic to everything they do. Yeah, absolutely. Because, like, not that I'm some oppressed person, but it is still a bit contentious in some parts of Northern Ireland. If I was in a certain neighbourhood speaking Irish, I would get looks, I would get stares, you know.
Yeah.
Not again that I'm like, boo-hoo, woe is me. I'm choosing to speak Irish. But for them, they're like, I live here. This is my life. This is my family. This is my culture. Yeah. And that's something that I find so... I can't imagine it, having not grown up in Northern Ireland, but like everyone does have the right. And again, Georgia says this in the movie. She's like, my family's been here for generations. I'm just as Northern Irish as you, even if I'm British. And yeah, like there's no reason that these two things can't coexist. I say that obviously I'm not going to solve the problems in Northern Ireland.
Let's get into it now. And then next week, tune in as we solve Israel-Palestine.
We have Arlene Foster on the line now. I was going to say Ian Paisley, that man's dead. But like,
it's a seance.
I'd love that. Let's do that Halloween episode. But like, yeah, like there have been people there for generations whose ancestors were British, and they have every right to the culture that exists there. Yeah. As the people who are Irish and have been there for generations. Like, it's a prickly situation, but no one has to quote unquote go home. They are home, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that I think is beautifully coming to realization over time, where it's like, just be both. Yeah. Like, you don't, like, it's not about picking a side anymore. It's just about
picking a side is probably not going to work out. Like,
it's just, you're from the north of Ireland. Yeah. And that means you can be British or Irish or both.
And choose that for you. Define it yourself.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's not the same as race and ethnicity, but, like, you can be British and black, or British and Asian, or Irish and black, and Irish and whatever. So there should be, hopefully, in the future, one day, this kind of balancing of flavours.
No, absolutely, I completely agree. And actually, that's another thing I could applaud the lads for, is they're very outspoken about the issues of Palestine as well.
Everywhere they go, every film premiere on the Late Late Show, they said like, no, we're not going to do anything. RTE was like, hey, please don't wear, overtly political stuff, and they all had like the Palestinian flag pins on. At their premiere in Smithfield, they had like a Jeep covered in Palestinian flags, because they're like, listen, Irish people can relate to this, of like being the minority group in an occupied land, and you're like,
both situations very
difficult, but it is, again, absolutely fair play to them as young lads who are already kind of marginalized in a sense, to use their platform, whatever size that they have, to be very clear from the out of like, no, this is where we stand, like it or not.
And like, look, they to want to be musicians, to want to be musicians who sang in Irish, to want to be musicians who sang in Irish, who did rap.
Yeah, exactly.
And support the cause in Palestine in terms of all the innocent people who are being...
Yeah, they're not trying to make their lives easy.
They're really going out of their way to... Like, it really just kind of does show some of their strongest attributes that they kind of have as individuals.
A big, strong moral core. Yeah. And it's really interesting as well because, again, I don't know the lads' personal backstory.
No, and I don't know anything else personally about them. But these views that they have, I can support.
And they do seem to be, at least the two younger lads, they are from West Belfast, and I think they're pretty working class. Definitely Nisha, there's a bit of an homage, so very different from this. He wrote and directed a one-man play that I saw, and that was entirely in Irish. It was on it was on in the Arc, is that? Yep, it was on the Arc, probably. Who cares?
Yeah.
But it was very interesting. It was a one-man play. He didn't act in it. He did have an actor, a Northern Irish actor who did it in Irish. And there was real-time translation. People had headphones in the audience.
Wow.
But
That's cool.
I went without.
Oh, you elitist scum.
I'm like, I can understand the play.
No headphone for me.
But it was a really strong message about gambling. So I believe he used to have a really bad gambling addiction, and we do see him at one point on like the slot machines when they first meet for the first time, and I was kind of like, again, that might be a bit of a like look into where he was in his life when this was happening, and hopefully all good now.
Hopefully.
Who knows?
I don't know.
I think he's pretty open about like he used to be very, just like depressed and stuff, and without direction, and so it was very easy to spend hours and hours and not even realize in casinos or in whatever, just like putting money into slot machines and hoping that like the next win, and that they're quite like insidious. They'll put out like buffets and stuff to keep you there and stuff like this. So that reflected in the movie, I was like, this seems very real. There's a lot of truth to it,
without obviously being a storyline.
It's not a documentary. Without being a storyline, but also not trying to be a documentary,
Yeah. Again, it's a fun movie.
Honestly, it sounds like it's very serious, but it's a lot of crack.
It's a lot of crack. But no, like I said, there's messages and there's stuff in the movie that point to its very pointed message around the cultural preservation of the Irish language and indigenous languages.
Exactly.
As well,
when we get to the end of the movie, they have so it's a lot of archive footage. Sorry, are we there yet?
Yeah, we're there, yeah.
There's a lot of archive footage of like, which is really lovely to see, like going back in time. They show like them in 2023, all the way back to like 2018, and they look even more baby-faced somehow. What age were we in 2018? Because they're about the same age.
I was 7 years old.
Exactly, so were they. That's a lot of ketamine for a 7-year-old.
It's 23.
23, so they were about the same as well.
Yeah.
And then they just have like a flash or a card up that's like every 40 days? No, every...
I think it was less. I think it was like 4 days, maybe.
Every 4 days, like an indigenous language dies across the world. Only in 2022 was Irish actually finally ratified into the Northern Irish proclamation. That's not the word, constitution. And all this sort of stuff. So again, just to like kind of appreciate what we have while we have it. In a way. And then it's again, like I said, dedicated to his mother at the end. And it's like, damn, look at that. Again, using your platform for like things that are important to you. Yeah.
And in a movie where they do a shit ton of cocaine and
so
ketamine.
Much. The drug montages are actually so good.
There is a scene where they mix up cocaine and ketamine, and it's fantastic.
It's very funny.
Like before they go on stage.
Exactly.
And just how that's shot as well, just to go back to the direction as well.
Like the way they move their bodies and everything. Like, you would think, this is something, again, that I never thought would be something you'd have to worry about with directing, but in a movie where there's so much drug use, it doesn't get repetitive.
No.
They kind of keep it fresh, they keep it funny, it's a punchline,
The scene where they write their first song is where they're in that sort of garage.
Yeah, in the garage studio.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. But no, like, well acted, well directed.
I'd be excited to see what the director does next.
Yes.
Like, how did was he a fan of the lads? I'd be interested to know.
I saw them doing an interview where they... Apparently he went to one of the gigs and he goes, guys, I want to do a movie with you guys. And they were like, yeah, sure. And then apparently he tried to like contact them for 6 months. They wouldn't get back to him. And then they were like, oh, you actually want to do this? And he goes, yeah.
You're an actual director.
Yeah. So I think, and then they
but you're English.
That's the thing. But his missus is from Belfast.
Stop. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how, like, he's cool.
It gives a bit of credibility.
Yeah. What's the guy said? The guy said something that's like, we were you wouldn't blame us for being suspicious about an Englishman trying to profit off the labour of an Irishman. Yeah. So no, yeah, I'd love to see what he does next. Again, I just think it's a really fresh biopic in the sense that, like, I've not seen a biopic like this because of how, like I said, just the style of it, and B, the fact that it's so fresh in the sense of, like, this group only formed 5 years ago, and they're playing themselves.
Yes, and many biopics have this kind of, martyr look, I suppose, because if the actor has like died, it's usually kind of a really rose-tinted view of this. But again, the lads are alive, they're in it.
And it's not sanitized.
It's not sanitized.
They're not good dudes.
And they're not trying to put a polished version of themselves forward. They're like, we want to put a funny or an interesting version of ourselves forward. So fair play on that. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be acting in anything else soon, but who knows?
Who fucking knows, eh?
Yeah.
Kneecap 2.
They're coming to Dublin in October. Go get your tickets.
Well, you don't get paid for this.
No, I'm not yet. Listen.
It's definitely sold out.
I have a ticket, so I'm
well,
sorry.
guys, you know where to go. Ask elitist Gaeilgeoir Sorcha. You have to ask her in Irish.
I'll be there looking snooty.
No headphones for me. I know what they're saying.
I know what the lyrics mean, except that their accent is quite thick. Could you repeat that, please?
On Will Catagum Dul Gadi Egg Kneecap. On Kneecap? I don't know.
Almost on Will Catagum Dul Kneecap.
Kneecap.
No, Neil Cat.
Aw. I don't know how you say bad in Irish.
It doesn't really translate, to be honest.
No.
No.
No good.
No good.
Neil Gama.
But yeah.
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna stop before my couple of fuckle betray me.
Absolutely.
Sorcha, thanks so much for coming back and doing this.
Gary, it has been a delight.
And thank you for putting this on my radar as well, because I probably would have seen it, but I was very conscious of it coming out because I knew you wanted to go see it, and I'd said let's do something that's not Valentine's Day related.
Yeah, although we still have to do that Cats episode someday.
We still have to do Cats. We still have to do the third 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes.
And then
I'm free.
No.
No, this monkey's paw has held me here.
But yeah, Sinead.
Gur Mila Maga.
Gur Mila Maga. Thank you to you and to everyone who's listened to this. And how do I usually close these out?
I don't listen to this.
If you want to keep up to date with the podcast, you can follow at Reading the Peers on Instagram. You can follow on the Spotify and the iTunes. Give us 5 stars or else. I meant to have a sign off to do with that, but I forget what it is because I do these monthly, so I don't have it.
Who knows?
Anyway, I'll do it for the next week's one. Yes, there's the YouTube. There's the Instagram, as I've already mentioned. Go see it. Let us know your thoughts. We'd be dying to hear what you think of it. And what's your favourite word in Irish, Sorcha?
Oh, it's not very exciting, but it's canapa, which is the word for button. And that's not a lie. I love the word canapa. Right,
Sorcha, I'm going to press the off canapa here. We're going to wrap up, but thank you very much. Go me and Mahagos.
Long before.